Okay, hey guys, it's Asha. So today I'm finally doing my book review and movie review of The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. And it's midnight right now, but I have like so much energy because I went on like a little coffee date with my friend, and the barista gave me like a large coffee, and I didn't ask for a large coffee, but of course I didn't say anything. So I ended up drinking a large coffee. Yeah, so I'm like not tired at all. Anyways, so yeah, so I thought I would make videos, Yeah, and my classes start till 11 tomorrow, so. So, The Book Thief, quickly, it's about this young girl named Liesel who gets sent to live with Hans and Rosa Huberman. They become her foster parents during World War II, and it takes place in a little town in Germany. And it's basically just about her surviving through the war and living under the reign of Hitler. And then it comes to find out that they end up having to hide a Jew during the war and all the problems that ensue with that. Also, why it's called The Book Thief, because Liesel doesn't know, well, she does know how to read, but her reading skills are much worse than all the students her own age. To teach herself how to read, she starts stealing books, and it all starts off with one book called The Gravedigger's Handbook, which she stole during the funeral of her little brother. And it's just all about that story. And this book is so incredible. It did take me a little bit to read. It took me about 2 weeks to read this book because it is very slow. It's very slow, but in basically the best way possible, because you really get to know all of these characters and get to love them, and oh my goodness, all of their stories and everything that happens to them happens to you because you really get to know the characters. And the other thing that's amazing about this book is that it's narrated by Death, which I'm sure most of you guys know by now. But I think that definitely gives it a very unique perspective, that Death is the one talking about this, especially during a war when he is obviously at his busiest and he has to go and collect all these souls. And oh, it's just incredible, and how he gets fixated on Liesel. And the other thing that makes this book so amazing is Marcus Zuzak's writing. This man knows how to write. I was just sitting here reading and just like shaking my head, like I cannot, like, this man is an incredible author. Another thing that I love about this book, there are these stories within stories, because Liesel starts to write, and she starts to write her own stories, and Max, which is the Jew that they have to hide, he starts to write his stories for Liesel, so you get to read those stories. So you get like all intertwined into the lives of these characters, and it's just amazing. And if you haven't read this book, I really, really suggest it. I can't think of anyone who wouldn't like this book, unless I guess you don't want a slow book or something, or you don't want a book that's going to take you a long time, because this will take you a bit of time to read this book. My favorite chapters, if you read this book, my favorite chapter is Peace and The Gamblers, or The Seven-Sided Die. I love it. I love those chapters. Oh my goodness. And this is one of those books where I wanted to underline like every other line. I wanted to just like underline or highlight, but I just decided that I'm just gonna read it and like soak it all in. And I'm definitely gonna be rereading this book again in November. I read it in November last year. Definitely gonna be rereading it again in November this year, and this time I'm definitely going to go through and mark all the passages that I loved and make notes in it. And this is definitely going to become beat up and like probably just, yeah. And then I want to buy like a really nice hard copy to keep for myself. And this one can just be the one that I write in and things like that. And I know most of you guys are going to be like, you write in books? I only write in very few books that are like my absolute favorite. For like the only other books that I've written in is Wuthering Heights. Yeah, Wuthering Heights is the only other book. That's one of my favorite books of all time. Anyways, so that's my book review. Okay, so as for the movie, I was actually pretty disappointed with the movie, because the book is filled with so much imagery, and color is such an important theme in the book that I thought they were going to use that in the movie and make the movie a lot more artistic and, I don't know, show the colors of the sky. And they didn't really do that. It was very much centered around the plot of the book, which I guess that makes sense. But I don't know, I just thought it was gonna be a lot more more of a creative type of movie. I thought they were gonna try to show the feelings that you get from the book, like artistically through the movie, instead of just solely based on the characters, if that made any sense at all. But I did really enjoy the acting. The acting was done very well. The people who they chose to play the characters, I thought was perfectly, like Jeffrey Rush, he plays Hans, he did an incredible job. And I also loved how they actually had them have German accents. Do you know how many movies, if you ever pay attention, how many movies that take, American movies that take place in Europe, they never have the accent that they're supposed to have. So I'm glad they actually did that. And, oh yes, I love how they kept Death as narrator. He actually does narrate some of the lines, and he says exact lines from the book in the movie, which I thought, good job, good job. And like the very first line in the book, he says, that's the very first thing he says in the movie, and the very last line in the book is the very last thing he says in the movie. So I really enjoyed that. I really liked that. But one thing that I thought that would have been better for the movie is if they made it like an HBO special or something, like a 3-part special, so that way they could really develop the characters like they did in the book. I don't know, I just feel like there's like, they could have told so much more. They just took like the very basic plot points and put it in the movie, even though the movie was like 2 hours long. It was a really long movie. But okay guys, so that's my review and book and movie reviews. The first time I've ever done a book and movie review, so it was probably very jumbled. It didn't make sense, so I hope you got something out of it. Yeah, so I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.